Good morning, and thank you so much for still staying with us on the press today. And now is the time for us to have an in-depth analysis of the major stories that have made the headlines today. We are now joined in the studio by our very own in-house analyst in the person of Joshua Imarayi. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay,
Good to see you again, Joshua.
Same here.
Yeah, so also remember the phone lines are now open. Feel free to join the conversation and ventilate on any of the issues on the paper today. But quickly, let me ask you this question. On the Nigerian Tribune newspaper today, it says, amidst stranded drama, NEMA says first batch of evacuees to arrive Nigeria today. Now that is what NEMA has said. When you go on social media, because there hasn't been any other stories to say this is not true, these videos are made up, we have Nigerians stranded in the desert. Why? Because the drivers have said they have not been fully paid. Now, I don't know how evacuation works. I don't know if the government is supposed to, pay these people their full money for the tax they're supposed to carry out, or they're supposed to pay half, and then when they get to their destinations, they will receive their full, payment for the tax completed. So I was having a conversation with someone this morning, and they said if these people have been paid their full money, then this is a hostage situation. It means you're holding Nigerians. You've been paid for this task. But now, how do you think the federal government at this point in time should react to this information coming from Sudan?
First things first. Daily as I live, I'm often ashamed at the way the Nigerian government react to things like this. I think we should have learned and we have gone far in these things, because the Ukraine-Russia situation must have given us an expose to how these things would be, and subsequently we might be experiencing more. But it is rather shameful that it is when the knife is already on the throat of the chicken, that is when you are trying to revive the chicken back. No, this should not be done. And one thing I know that is that the Nigerian government, particularly in the NIGHTCOM person in charge, Adeniyi, she's very, very poor at handling damage control, because you see a government official hauling out insults on Twitter account and the likes of them. I am ashamed of that. Sometimes I wonder where they pick these people from, but still, let's speak on the matter. First things first, the Nigerian government has reacted poorly to the evacuation of Nigerians in Sudan. Now, this is the words of those who are in the forest, on road to
the desert.
The desert, yes, particularly.
On road to Cairo.
Or road to Cairo.
Yes.
This is their word against that of Abike Dabiri.
Yeah.
Because whether you like it or not, these are first-hand tales from where things is happening.
Yes.
And if the drivers will tell you that we've not been paid fully, and you should take that hook, line, and sinker. Now we should it might be that there might be some communication error with those who contracted the drivers and from the middleman. If there's a middleman at all,
yes.
If there's a middleman, then those blames should be apportioned. But now the thing is, the Nigerian government has not come out to say anything. What they have to say is they are expecting people. But what we expect these people, the conduct of how this thing is being made, is poorly arranged.
There's zero accountability.
Basically, because we don't know who to believe now. Now, left with me, an average Nigerian who watches these guys on social media dishing out their sad tales of how they've been left there. Trust me, I'll believe those guys, because they are at the forefront of these things.
All right, quickly now, Joshua. We've seen on the front pages of some of our national dailies how the federal government says they are expecting the first batch of the evacuees from Sudan today. Secondly, we've seen footages of some Nigerians who have in Sudan who have claimed that they were not able to make it to join one of the 40 buses that were made available to convey Nigerians from Sudan to Egypt, then board them on flights back to Nigeria. In all of this, I want to take this from another perspective. In all of this, the loudest voice in terms of trying to evacuate these Nigerians in the first place is the chairman, CEO of the Nigerians in diaspora, Abike Dabiri. But then we have a Minister of Foreign Affairs. are we saying is duties such as this, is it does it in any way infringe on the statutory duties of the Minister of Foreign Affairs? Because I believe that the Nigerians in diaspora, the office should be supervised by the Minister of Foreign Affairs. These are Nigerians on a foreign land right now, but then the Minister of Foreign Affairs, in person of Geoffrey Onyema, I think yes. Geoffrey Onyema has been largely silent. What do you make of this scenario?
What would you expect from someone whose basic responsibility is flying out with the president day in, day out to visit wherever he goes to and do whatever he knows there? I am surprised because the core responsibilities that are to be handled by these individuals are being pushed. And personally, I feel they are putting more on the NIGCOM boss. And in the process, making them look weak and incapable because he has remained silent. Now, we've heard of how the crisis in Sudan has not been allowing people to fly through the airspace. Even the president of our own country had to bypass, and it took him a longer time. Now, all this while, we heard all these things. But now, when it comes to the life of an average citizen, it becomes something that it becomes a big problem. We've not heard from this individual, this Geoffrey Onyema, who is our Minister of Foreign Affairs. I don't really know if the rescuing of our citizens abroad in Sudan is under his purview. That is something we need to clarify. I don't really know. But if in this entire scenario, this same man who Nigerians perceive to be the spearhead in all of this is silent, trust me, how would we believe the entire process is genuine? We cannot. Because what we are seeing out there is actually different from what they are preaching. So I think there must be some sort of conflict in management or something. And if that is the case, I think it needs to be fixed now, because other countries, they've been taking their people out of there. Even when those buses were lined up, I saw a bus carrying the flag of Senegal. I think was that Senegal, Kenya. Yes. I saw that. Now, if on Twitter or on social media, the Kenyans have not been making so much noise about these things, and it has been the Nigerians, don't you think there is a problem? Yes. There is a problem. So I think those people responsible should address us. This is where we need press release. This is where we need voices. This is where we need PR practitioners coming out representing the Nigerian government. But in a case like this, we don't see any of them. But unnecessary secrets like that of looting, decamping, you see people coming out to embrace such mediocrity. I am surprised. God bless God that their time is gradually elapsing. Come May 29th, we are having a new government. And my prayer is, this issue of this vast matter has been displayed by the outgoing the cabinet, and I just hope it is not carried over to the next government.
All right, viewers at home now, our phone lines are now open. You can simply call in now to make your contributions. The phone lines you can call is scrolling on your screen right now, but please do ensure to turn down the volume of your TV set so we can hear you clearly. We would be patiently waiting for your calls. Now, from the Nigerians in Sudan and the evacuation shenanigans, let's look at the return of the president-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and his elect has sparked a whole lot in terms of the leadership of what the leadership of the 10th National Assembly will look like. There's been some sort of before his return, it was the scheming was kind of on a low-key scheming by some of the senators elect who feels like it should be theirs. But then it got to a point whereby it had to become some of them had to come public about it. I'm talking about someone like Senator Orji Uzor Kalu, who made some statements that rather a layman Nigerian would rather want to see it as feeling entitled to the position. But then we've seen some of the headlines now. We've seen some of our national leaders saying that Tinubu is set to dump the zoning method. We've seen some of the headlines even saying that the Tinubu is set to work with the National Working Committee, and they have adopted Akpabio and Barrow as the Senate President and Deputy Senate President, respectively. What do you make of this whole? Situation? Because it looks like the race for the Senate presidency is going to be a very heated contest right now. Because looking at it now, the Northwest are have an eye on the seat also, and in a situation whereby either the president-elect or the party are not able to arrive at a logical conclusion on where the Senate presidency should go. Do you see a repeat of the 8th Senate happening?
You and I know the APC, while feeding its presidential and vice presidential candidate for the presidency, actually banked on logic. There were reactions concerning the fact of them fielding a Muslim candidate to over religious sentiment, and they capitalized on logic that whoever is more competent should take the job. And in democracy, it is actually a case of winner takes all.
Yes.
Now, if a party as big and giant as APC in Nigeria is to choose or handpick, because this is what they are doing. We know they are handpicking. If they are to choose and handpick, I think equity demands that that seat should go to aside the north and the southwest. They should stay clear of that seat. Equity demands. But if they are still banking on their logic, then we know a repeat of the rubber stamp, the outgoing rubber stamp assembly is about to take place. But personally, as a Nigerian, I feel the APC and the PDP, they are not the only ones in the house. There are others. Why don't they throw the thing to an open ground? Let others vote. Pick out of your own personal volition that this is who you feel. We have senators from different parties, and they know who they feel can do the job better. Why are they cooking? Personally, I feel this whole thing they are cooking might lead to a very, very dead end. That at the end, Nigerians will come out to say we said this from the beginning, because this is what we saw in the last house. So I don't think that should repeat itself again. I will say this again: equity demands that seat should people from the north and the southwest should stay away from that seat if they should take equity into consideration. But logic states that anyone who is competent for the job should go there. That is my own personal view on this. But as time goes on, I think the drama that would come out from these things would be quite bigger than what we are expecting, because the APC is a party that actually would play games and you not see them coming. Just the way the president said yesterday, that while they were working hard, other parties were overconfident about winning the presidency, and they came here.
Exactly. I was about to talk about what the president said. There's a quote here on the Nation newspaper. It says, "Overconfidence is creating more problems for the opposition. They are finding it hard to convince those who supported them from outside why they are unable to beat us." Now, this is what the current president, Buhari said. And I was having a conversation with someone this morning. I said, with the promises that INEC gave to presidential candidates and gave to Nigerians, we would say yes, we would have confidence in the electoral process. To come out to say you want to be the president of a country is not something a small boy does. These are highly placed individuals that believe that they have the capacity, the tenacity, and the ability, to push out beautiful ideas for the country. You have to be a confident person to say, I want to be the president of this country. And now I'm happy about this past elections because we saw massive support for the three major candidates, the LP, the PDP, and the APC. Now, the president coming out to say they have foreign supporters. I remember back then, I think in the 2015 election where President Buhari took the seat, one of his leaders of, I think, his party chairman was a white person, was an American. That was fact. Do you understand? Now, people say, yes, foreign people have national interests. Yes, of course, that's the diplomacy. That's the other countries, coming to support. But why do you think the president would say overconfidence now is a problem for this candidate? And I believe when you say this, it means maybe you had some other backup plans whereby confidence didn't have a role to play in winning this election, whereby you had, some other things going on behind the curtains. But how do you react to this quote that the president said about overconfidence being the issue?
Bobby.
All right, now, just before you react to this, we want to take a phone call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Ike Chukwu. I'm calling from Delta State.
Okay, please go on and make your contribution.
I want to say something concerning the 10th Assembly.
Okay.
You see, we have to go back to history. The Southeast, after the fact that they did not, they hated APC with passion. They never voted for them. I'm a Southeast man, from Commander State, to be precise. After that fight, we don't know how to play politics. We are traders. It is, we know how to trade. But politics, the house has number one before you talk about the Southwest. Then that aside, the leadership, when last it was given to the Southeast Alliance, we saw them making a nonsense and nuisance of that particular field. Where five Senate presidents handled it within 8 years. That is, I think it should be on Guinness Book of Records. You see, so if you ask me my honest opinion, you should go to the South, and I back you. That uncommon senator, the man will do well there. And you don't put your enemy, you don't give your enemy a bullet after missing the first one. The Southeasterners, my people, have demonstrated hatred for APC. Okay, what if you give it to Ojudo Kalu and the tribunal nullifies the election? It means that Ojudo Kalu becomes the president. I lived in Aba when Ojudo Kalu was the president, governor. I know the man, does that mean I know him? I don't want to say more, but he can't be trusted. So if we are looking for a Southeasterner, I will say somebody that is not there, is not a senator. Somebody like Emeka Anyoko, Obonayono. These are the people you should be talking of. But all the senators I saw that won election there, I don't see anyone that can represent the Southeast well. So instead of giving to the Southeast and they go there and begin to do the same thing they did before, let us try the South-South. I think that's my contribution to you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your contributions, but then we must state clearly that every opinion expressed there by our last caller are completely his and not from KAFTAN television or our sister stations. But then he made some very pertinent and important submissions during his phone call. We'll still return to Bobby's question before we go ahead. The point where he said he seemed so sure that the Southeasterners will not do well as in the position of the Senate presidency, it negates your submission earlier that on the ground of equity, the seat should go to the Southeast. So I'd want you to use this as the second question while you react to Bobby's question.
In every way, I must fault every opinion made by the last caller.
Okay.
Because there would be no way that you would say from the entire arrangement, there is no one qualified Southeasterner that is to become the Senate president. We should not bank on the APC alone. We have other parties. And whether you like it or not, they have coalition of parties. And this coalition of parties, they believe in one mandate, that they remain loyal to one cause. So, is it for a fact that there is nobody worthy to take on that mantle from the Southeast? Now, let us show it to the South-South. Yes, we've been hearing Godswill Akpabio from the time he was governor, down to the time he was NDDC chairman, down to others. We know he's qualified though. But is it that there is nobody from the Southeast to wear this cap? Is there nobody competent enough? Now, for a fact, I wouldn't count the card of Oji Uzokalu as a card worth playing, because for a fact that someone who is an ex-convict, you and I know Oji Uzokalu is an ex-convict, and you and I know of how he has treaded in the past.
Okay.
You and I know of his records. So, viewing Uzokalu as the Senate president, it would be a very wrong move by the APC. They have other qualified candidates. But still, that does not mean there is no competent person from the Southeast. It is just that they are paying blind eyes. Because out of a multitude of persons, there is no how you not pick 2 or 3 qualified candidates for that seat. So, I think they are playing a game of favoritism, personally. And they are trying to work to the junction of the rubber stamp assembly, whereby the House would not give the president issue, and the president too would come out and do things.
It's a win-win situation for
basically.
whatever he says.
So, and I feel that should not be the case. Democracy states that number wins it all. Well, in the chance of using number to win it all, we should not forget the matter of logic, because wherever we go and we throw logic out of it, we always fall back to go back to logic, and it would always cost us more than taking logic as a first option initially. So, if they should do it right, if they should do it well, they should do it right this time. That's my opinion.
Okay, so back to my own question. I think I gave too much information while I was asking that question. So I'm going to ask it properly this time. The president has said overconfidence. The opposition party, LP and PDP, were overconfident. And INEC made a lot of promises that boosted everybody's confidence in Nigeria. IREV, the portal and everything.
Beavers
machines and everything. Now, who is to blame for this in general? Do we say the candidates of the LP and the PDP overconfidence caused this, or we say the overconfidence that they had in the electoral process?
Now, this thing is like a two-pronged fork.
Okay.
One of the prongs of the fork is actually pointing down to that of INEC, and the other to the party. Now, when INEC came, they said they were going to give you a free, fair, credible, and transparent election.
Yes. Which is your core responsibility.
According to them, they did that.
Okay.
Based on their own analysis and based on whatever record we have on IREF, that is what they did. Just that we experienced a spate of violence from some part of Nigeria. Now, INEC pumping up the confidence of Nigeria does not mean political parties will not do their homework. Now, first things first, we saw how the present government took power from the PDP. We saw the merger. We saw the power play, and we saw how they cross-carpeted, they bought alliance, that even the Southwest came, the joint forces, the ACN, we know how the blocks were. But when it came to this past election, we were expecting a merger from Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, or whoever. But it came, and to my chagrin, none of them came. Now, there is always a saying that we cannot, this broom analogy, that we cannot win individually, and we have to come together. That is where they got it wrong. Firstly, their overconfidence in each of their own progress got them wrong. Because when I saw the election and how the campaign were, some candidates visited some parts of Nigeria. They visited some parts of the KKK, some local governments in the KKK, and they couldn't cover a large area. That is the first flaw. Because you are the president of Nigeria, not the president of a particular. If you want to be president of Nigeria,
not a particular region.
Basically, so where they needed to be measured, they paid blind eyes to it. Whether you like it or not, politics is a game of number. When you come out en masse to vote, and if you come out en masse to vote, your preferred candidate will surely win. But this time, the PDP and the LP, whether you like it or not, the LP is like an offshoot of the PDP, because same persons who left the PDP, they went to the LP to constitute that party, whether you like it or not. This is something we know, and they are on the books. Now, if the PDP had cautioned this chaos right from time and never allowed that man leave, it would have been better. But after he left, after the Peter Obi left, he got an offer from Kwankwaso. But Kwankwaso, who wanted to be a northern president after a northern president, got it wrong. So there are silent points that the president saw. You must not leave the fact that the president has been a two-time head of state. He knows the game. He has seen the game. This is one who was the Minister of Petroleum once. Once a regional governor or something. Once. He has seen the game. He studied it. There is no far truth from what he just said. Their overconfidence made them fail.
All right, now moving on to other stories now, because our time is fast spent. And if we look at the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning, we would see something quite alarming. After $800 million palliative, FG suspends subsidy, cites wrong timing. If we look at this very headline now, we would also, alongside it, we would also notice other financial dealings coming out. We have barely 32 days to the emergence of another administration. In another vein, we have the Attorney General of the Federation, in person of Abubakar Malami, somewhere else knocking the House of Reps, House of Representative members, saying claims of illegal $2.4 billion oil sale are false. A whole lot of approvals, a whole lot of monies leaving the government coffers. A whole lot is happening right now. Barely 34 days to the end of the present administration. $800 million earmarked for palliative. How workable is this?
Firstly, we've heard of how a series of persons have come out, even presidential candidates, who declare that subsidy is a scam. Even the current president, who was contesting, he made that statement that subsidy is a scam. Now, the debate of removing subsidy, because yesterday I was in my own house and I heard some of my neighbors saying they want to increase fuel. That indicates that they are about to remove subsidy. They want to increase fuel, things go hard, things like that. And the question I always ask is subsidy truly a scam? Are we trying to avoid necessary solutions to this challenge? Because I won't see it as a problem. It's a challenge that we all can deal with. Now, considering the fact that Dangote refinery is going to hit the ground running soon. And I think the Nigerian government should keep that subsidy for now, basically for now. But the fact is, there are some individuals who are ripping Nigeria off through this subsidy, and the government they are making it very, very hard for Nigerians to believe. Because if you hit the street now and you ask an average Nigerian, what do you think subsidy is? Trust me,
They don't know.
They don't know. They just hear subsidy. But overall, the Nigerian government, what the Nigerian government said subsidy is paying for fuel, so it not be too cost
for individuals. Yeah.
Now, why are you paying for it? Now, even as you are paying for it, are things not still going up? Now, do we see a consistent flow of that petroleum product the way you are saying you are paying for subsidy? Because whether you like it or not, the subsidy is not stopping fuel queues.
Yes,
it's not stopping transport from going high.
Yes,
because a while ago I nearly got into trouble with a taxi man who said he's going to take me for 300 naira as opposed to the normal 200 naira. So if things like this are going, does that mean that this whole subsidy is a scam? These are the questions Nigerians needs to ask these people, because they are playing the whole thing, making us not understand the whole process, how it is.
All right, Joshua, let's take another phone call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, this is Akin calling from Lagos State.
Mr. Akim from Lagos State, please go on and make your contribution.
All right, thank you so much. I hello to your analyst there. I really enjoy his analysis. Okay, let me talk about this subsidy issue. Actually, from everyone's perception in Nigeria, we will see it as a scam. You know, as a layman, you perceive it as a scam. But the true aspect of it is that there is actually subsidy existing. Okay? But like he said, the analyst says, some people are benefiting from it. Let me give you some instance now. Why subsidy? Is it not to make it easy for the less privileged people to be able to afford what it is? Ordinarily, if it is less, it will be highly costly, right? Okay. Look at it, our refineries are not working properly now. So we go out to export this crude, the refined one, which is going to be sold to us in exorbitant price. Now the federal government, because they don't want to sell it at the price they bought it, they lessen the price to the community, but fund what they imported. This is where the issue of subsidy comes in. Okay? So now the issue now is that they continue removing this subsidy, and if you are going out there to buy something, if you buy 15 naira yesterday and you come to sell it 20 naira to your people and you cover up with 30 naira, that is the subsidy, right? And if tomorrow you go out to buy it again, it is no more 15 naira, maybe it is 100 naira, that against you, there will be another subsidy removal. So this is where people will see it as a scam, because they continue seeing subsidy today, you say you remove it, tomorrow you still want to remove subsidy. It's the best solution, and the government knows it, they don't want to do it. The best solution is that we have this crude oil in our country. The first thing is that they should suspend the issue of removal of the subsidy. Put our refinery into work. When you put our refinery into work, we are the ones producing it, isn't it? So if we want to sell it less for our people, okay, that is one point. Then, another thing.
All right, now, Mr. Akin, you have 30 seconds to round up your point.
Okay. Let me just round it up. Let me just ask you. Thank you. Anyway, in short, even if the federal government puts the refinery in place, which is very nice, but we still have bad people from ourselves. When the price is cheap, you see those that are smuggling it out to sell it to neighboring countries. So I don't know. The government coming in, we really have to think very, very clearly about this thing. And finally, the person that should be the Senate president should come from the South. Period.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Joshua, our time is far spent, but you'll be having 60 seconds to make your parting shot.
Nigerians should stay away from fake news. It hurts the public image of our country. Just recently, I saw some cookings, and I feel we need proper enlightenment, because when we have these things, when we have this knowledge readily available to us, we understand how the entire process is, and we should be wary of pushing such fake news. It does no good to our country. It only drags us into the mud, and I think we should do away with that completely.
All right, thank you very much for your time. It was a beautiful time talking to you on the program today, and we really do hope to have you again next time on the program. And this is where we draw the curtain on today's episode, beg your pardon, of your #1 newspaper program, The Press, coming to you live from the Abuja studios of KAFTAN TV. My name is Francis Adeniyi. Do well to have a beautiful weekend ahead of you.
And I am Amadi James. Until we come your way, same time next week, have a beautiful Friday.